Alright folks, welcome back to King's Consoles. Here to take a look at my newest Scuf controller and also a quick overview of the Scuf fangs. So just a little backstory to start with. If you haven't been a subscriber to my channel, then welcome. If you have, then you'll know that back at the start of the year I ended up sending a normal PlayStation 4 controller, away to Scuf Gaming to customise it for me, which I still have, and it's brilliant. I've loved it ever since I've got the controller. But I managed to do a bit of a trade with a fellow YouTuber and acquired another Scuf controller. Now you may think, Dave, why do you need another Scuf controller when you've already got one? The truth of the matter is I don't need another one, but it's always handy to have a second controller about. And this is actually a Scuf made controller, so it's not one that's been sent into them. So it's nice to have a bit of a comparison of the two. And plus I do like the look of this in general, and it's set up kind of like how I play with my old controller. But enough of my waffling. I'm just going to walk through the controller and do a bit of a comparison between my own Scuf controller and the newest one I've acquired. So without further ado, let's remove it from my case. There we go. And here is the newest member of my Scuf controllers. So this is the digital camo, the red urban digital camo colour variant. So quite a bit to talk about this controller, in fact. To start with, you'll notice, if you've seen my previous video, a couple of changes in comparison to what my actual own controller is, and I'll walk you through that in a few moments. Start off with, what you may notice is we have the Scuf control disc. So this goes over your D-pad, mainly I believe used for sort of fighting games. It makes it a lot easier to do a lot of the down towards like combos. It can be removed, so quite straightforward, just pops off, and you'll see there's some little holes in there, so you can just use a normal D-pad if you like. I never ordered this on my controller because it's not something I thought would be of any main benefit to me. However, it is really handy. It doesn't make any difference when I'm playing Call of Duty and the first person shooters. It just is quick to hit the right direction you want to go in. This controller also comes with some custom sticks. So we have, on the left hand side, a regular domed stick for your movement, and you can see if it focuses in, these are all the Scuf's own, so they've got their kind of logo just here and also on the control disc as well. Very nice rubber on these sticks, not slippery at all. And on the right stick is slightly taller, about 2mm if you're lucky, and it's a concave one, so my thumb sits in there quite nicely. So my current controller have a couple of control freaks on there for this exact configuration in terms of height, because I always prefer to have the right stick a bit higher. It makes it for aiming a lot easier. In terms of the configuration of the controller itself, that's the main sort of difference between my controller. I came to my controller, this is my controller as well, but my first controller. Design aesthetics, it's got a little Scuf logo, which is pretty cool in the middle. I never got that in mine, I've still got the original PlayStation. And on the back, they decided to go for the green grips, so don't understand the thinking behind this when they made it. They've also had to customise the controller. I don't know why they never went for red grips, maybe it's cheaper. Don't know. But anyway, it's still got the same Scuf Pro triggers, which is excellent. Doesn't come with the customisation. So normally stick a magnet on there and you can change the triggers. This is just X and O. It's the wrong way around for me actually. When I've got mine configured, the jump's normally on my right hand side, and then the left hand side is my slide. But for this one, for some reason, I don't know if it's the default setting, there must be, but it jumps on here and slides there. So when I use this controller, it does confuse me. I should really just configure my other controller to the same as this one. So regardless which one I'm using, it's the same. Now, I did say I was going to give a little brief overview of the fangs as well. So I'll put it to the side. So I did show my fangs in my previous video. These are my original set I got when I had my PlayStation 4. So they're just little bits of plastic which sit over your triggers. Just give you a bigger range of motion. So if I get these the right round, I don't know if I have or not. So it's left 2, L2 there. And then just a little tab you can see at the bottom there. Just slides into the gap. Now, I don't know if they changed the design, but what's happened is these work perfectly fine, so there's no problems with them at all. My white ones I got for my white controller, there seems to be just like too much plastic on this ridge here. So I need to file them back, but when they're in my white controller, they constantly keep the button pushed down. Whereas these ones I've had since my original PlayStation 4 controller are perfect. So they sit quite nicely there. The kind of green back. Still just really awkward having the green back and the red front. But I like the fangs. I don't believe they sell them anymore. You can still pick up from some stores the last variants of them. But you can kind of see as I'm holding the controller here, how my fingers just, I've got quite large hands, so I can quite easily have my thumbs in here, fingers on the triggers, and I can pull my fangs, pull my triggers, my L2 and R2 quite comfortably there. But that's the controller, guys. I'm going to take this to the side, give a slight comparison between my original custom Scuf. So here's the one I picked up before. So you can see what I mean about the actual size of the sticks. So the way this is set up is spot on. It's a small stick, larger stick. I use this with control freaks, so they're not quite domed, but my thumbs sit really nicely on the control freaks. You see it's the Black Ops control freaks as well. Black Ops 3, if that was zoom. Kind of see them. So yeah, the height configuration for me with these two controllers was spot on. You see that I really wish you'd put the blacked out buttons in this, like my white controller. It would have looked so much better. Maybe it's a cost factor because, as you know, these things aren't cheap. And if this is a proper Scuf, you're probably looking about upwards of about £130 for this configuration. I did a little check with the control disc, the custom sticks. Yeah, it wouldn't have been the cheapest controller to buy, so I can understand maybe there's been some bits left out. But you see the back's pretty much the same. Just that I went for the white grips instead of the green grips. But the paddles are the exact same. You wouldn't even tell, there's no way to kind of differentiate if it's got the magnet to change the paddles. I just tested it with my magnet and didn't work, so kind of figured that person opted out. And there's a look at the fangs with and without. So these are quite long enough. I've played, with this controller I've had to play without the fangs because I see my white ones aren't really working on this one. They hold the button down, which is not really any good when you're playing first person shooters. So I need to shave a little bit off of the excess plastic. And it just doesn't look right having the green fangs on the white controller. So I do go between both of them. But that's it, guys. That's really the comparison between the two controllers. Really happy to have them both. A bit of variation. So this is my main controller, my go-to one. But once in a while, I decide to give this one a little try instead. But it's Dave from King's Consoles saying catch you guys later. Do subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. I've got more content coming soon. From retro to current gen, then quite a lot of Call of Duty videos going up lately. But yeah, catch you guys later.